I wanna talk about life, I wanna talk about health. Time to talk about obtaining generational wealth. Yeah, I'm on the grind, success is on my mind. I gotta do it now because there's no better time. It doesn't matter what you really been facing. Keep the faith in all your dreams you've been chasing. Because of her, you have your number one supporter. Stop what you're doing and tune into Juice's Corner.
All right. And we're back with the third episode of the Juicy's Corner Show. And of course, it's TopCarter CL here. And make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment down at the bottom for anyone who's trying to see any more content that we got coming to you. And of course, this is going to be real conversations that are much needed in this time. So let's go ahead and let everyone introduce themselves. And we're going to start to the left right here.
Hey, y'all with your girl, Miss Juicy. We here to have a good time.
It's your boy, Shawn Kill. Welcome back to another show with us. You know, we're ready to talk it up.
Yes. And to my right.
Hey, your boy Sensei Trey here. We definitely have a juicy topic for you today, so definitely stick around.
Oh, man, very juicy. And the hot topic for today is complacent mindset versus evolving mindset. So why would someone actually choose to be or choose to have a complacent mindset versus evolving mindset?
Let's talk about it.
Who wants to start that off?
I can start over here. First of all, I don't mean to take shots, but I'm going to take some shots. So complacent mindset versus evolving mindset. I would like to say, as a former school teacher, a lot of these parents have complacent mindsets. And so I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I feel like that affects the kids that we dealing with nowadays. So a lot of times we blaming these kids for being complacent in the things that they do and in the things that they consume. But I feel like their mindsets are coming from their parents. So we really got to look at these parents sideways because, you know,
I totally agree with you.
they're not evolving at all.
Because I work with youth. I have a foundation, Smiley Sweets Foundation. I work with youth. And when kids are small, they are looking at their heroes, their role models, and that's their parents. People look on the outside like me. Some parents are not the best parents, but you can't tell those kids that.
Yeah. Yep.
Mom and dad are the best parents in their eyes. And as parents, because I'm a parent, and a lot of us here are parents, we don't understand that our kids look at everything that we do. You're wondering why they're drinking at an early age. You're wondering why they're smoking at an early age. You're wondering why they're doing other things at an early age because they're seeing mama and daddy do it. If you're the only one that's been around your child at a certain age level in their life, they got it from you. So we have to stop putting labels on our children saying they're bad or I can't do nothing with them. They don't listen. They're only mimicking what they seeing their heroes do, and that's you as a parent.
Yeah. And to that point, like, a lot of times what I see is people ingraining certain mindsets into their kids as well. So not just the kid seeing, you know, on the outside looking at their parent and what they doing, but you got some parents who, because they are complacent and that's good enough for them, they try to drill it in their kids that's going to be good enough for them too. And it's like, that's not okay. Like, you're not supposed to, you know, teach your kid to just be well enough, right? You're supposed to encourage them to be the best version of them that they can be. And, you know, for me, I know you, like you said, a lot of us here have kids. I don't have any kids myself, but I do have nieces and nephews. And, you know, that's one thing that we've always tried to do with them as well. You know, even when they're around us and not their parents, you know, just trying to show them like what's out there. Like, because if you only see one thing and you're only around one thing, that's all you really know. But exposing them to other things, exposing them to other people, like the way that they go about living their lives, the way that their households are, right? Then it opens your eyes up, you know? And I think that in itself helps to not have that complacent mindset.
I feel like when it comes to nowadays, parents are becoming younger.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Hold up
feel
now.
like
I was
I
about
like
to say,
Hello
wait a minute.
Kitty. Hello now. I like Hello Kitty.
but I feel like, accountability comes with that,
Yeah.
So when I say like parents are becoming younger, I feel like more parents are just more prone to be their child's friend
Yo.
Absolutely.
instead of
Yeah.
an actual
Right there.
parent
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that's really looking out for
Yep.
their best interest, how it's supposed to be, like how they're supposed to be raised.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of piggybacking off of you when it comes to that too. So yeah, I just feel like that accountability, just parents now, I feel like are a little more trying to be like friends instead of actual parents grooming them the way that they should go.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
and when that happens, like you were saying, they see their parents drinking or smoking or living their
Mhm.
best life, and it's like because their parents ain't really get to
Mm.
live or just be a kid,
Absolutely.
when they was younger.
Absolutely.
So they kind of seeing that process of their parents actually growing up, in front of their eyes,
Yep.
and it's basically kind of hard for them to tell like what's between right and wrong, like those kind of things. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
absolutely.
would say that a little story time.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, because I just like the more that you're talking about it, the more I'm just thinking about it, right? So I feel like there's complacency in behaviors, right, for parents. So if you're complacent in making bad decisions, in drinking and smoking, like you said, that's kind of what contributes to the demise of your own children, right? So story time, I know somebody who has a complacent mindset where they're always the victim. And they make bad decisions. They've always been making bad decisions, including drugs and alcohol, right? So they have a child. And with this child, they continue to do that behavior, and they even pressure their child into doing that behavior at the age of like 14. And so that child is not really that type of person, but because they want to please that parent, they just indulge in that behavior. Now, years later, that child has a situation happen to them, and it is irreversible, and they are permanently impaired because they went along with their parents' lifestyle choices. So what would you do in that instance? Like, what do you think should happen to that parent when their kind of complacency in their behavior and the choices that they make affect their kid? And so now their kid is permanently ruined and it's a life-altering situation. Should that parent be penalized? Should they be in the jail, under the jail? Should they be set free? Do they get a second chance? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Let me start with that. Yeah. If you notice in the news, this young man who actually took a gun out of his parents' home
Mhm.
and went to the school, his father's actually being charged
Mm.
with that because he knew the mental state that his son was in, but he still allowed a gun to be in the house and for him to get a hold
Access
to it.
to it.
Yeah. So yes, of course, I truly do believe that parents need to be held. Story time, true story. We get caught up in having conversations in front of our kids.
Mhm.
So I know
Mhm.
someone who have conversations in front of their kids. Okay. So getting back to what Los was saying, hey, I want to be your friend. Nothing against you, Sexy Red. You just not my cup of tea when I listen to music. But I have a parent that listens to music with her older child.
Mhm.
Okay. And they both bump to, that's what they say, bump to Sexy Red.
Mhm.
So how can I come behind that parent and say, well, this is not what I teach you in this program when it's talking about self-worth, when mom at home listen to this with you and
Mhm.
singing it with you. But you got to remind yourself, here's the younger kids
Mm-hmm.
in this. Okay. So me being the person that I am and knowing the neighborhoods that I work in, this could went left field if this child would have went and said this to somebody
Their
else.
parents.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So come into the classroom, we doing something. And I knew exactly what the child meant, but whatever they seen and heard at the same time, they got it mixed. So the child comes, hey, Miss Juicy, come on and butthole me.
What?
Oh my God.
So when the
Yo.
child said that to me, they threw the hand up like arm wrestling.
Yeah.
But the conversation that child heard, they must have seen the arm wrestling thing, but heard the word butthole. So that child put that word and what they were saying together.
Yeah.
So we have to be very, very mindful of what we say in front of our kids.
Yeah.
So should that parent get in trouble behind that? Yes, because you expose your child to language that they have no clue about, and that language could have been sent to the wrong person. You could have had a pedophile, anybody that child could have came up to and said, do this to me. Me knowing the child was hand wrestling because he put his hand right there, and, and my thing was, no, baby, that's not what that is. Right. You know my attitude. I'm gonna take a bad situation and try to turn it around, make something positive. But me being the person I am and knowing these kids, I said, no, baby, that's not what that is. I said, but let me explain what you want to do. You want to hand wrestle, arm wrestle. And I said, I don't know where you got that word from, but baby, don't ever use that word again. But it could have went to somebody else. DSS, child could have been taken out the home. Yep. It could have been a big mess over something simple. So we have to be very, very mindful of what conversations we have in front of these kids. We have to be very, very mindful of the music that we listen to. That's why I really don't care for Sexy Red. Because when she first came out, I had my boutique with the young ladies, and they talking about stuff being brown and pink. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Oh, Miss Juicy, Sexy Red. And I had to listen to, oh, no, babies, not in here.
I'm out of town, thugging with my rounds, my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. I'm thinking like everybody coochie pink, and booty hole was brown, but I just found out it's not. I swear to God, I just found out. Somebody talking about they booty hole pink. I ain't never heard of no pink booty hole.
Because you speaking like that, you're going to attract stuff like that. And that ain't what you want.
Yeah.
So we have to be very, very mindful what we allow these kids to listen to, what kind of language we speak. And yes, the parents need to be in trouble when these kids are exposed and when they're innocent to stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am in the mindset of throw them under the jail, and that's the nice treatment.
And throw the key away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I do agree with y'all. Like, they need to be held accountable, especially in those type of situations. But what do you do when you have a kid who totally they know what they're doing, but they use it as an excuse to act out and do things? Like, so for example, like you said, there's one thing to be an innocent child who you just ignorant to whatever it is that you're doing, or like you said, that situation where he didn't know what he was saying, right? But you have some kids who they will literally use their parent as a scapegoat for them to be able to go out and act out.
But would that not tie back to the parent and the boundaries that they set?
Not necessarily, because you have some parents who are very much, they I don't want to say strict, but they try to encourage and instill good behaviors in kids. But you got some kids who just
rebellious. No matter what you do.
Well, you can definitely place the value on that parent's behavior, right? Because you just said the key word. They were trying to instill those things, and they were trying to instill the right things, versus a parent who you can see by their behaviors, their actions, and their words that they're not trying to instill anything positive. So I think when you gauge that a parent is trying, then you can meet them halfway and you can give them a little leeway. Now, I still believe there needs to be a level of accountability, because there is things that they might have been doing wrong, or things they could have reached out for help for, but perhaps they had too much pride, things of that nature. But I really think it might be a case-by-case basis, honestly. Now that you put that perspective out there, it might just be a case-by-case basis where you have to figure out, like, what was the intent, what was taught, how hard did you try, what methods were you using, stuff like that. There's a lot of layers.
Yeah.
That's the teacher over there speaking now. Miss Juicy don't speak. That's the teacher, the professional over there speaking. Sometimes the kids might be spoiled brats. I'm just going to keep it 100.
Yeah.
Where the parent have given them everything. Made sure you had everything you wanted, everything you need. They want to make sure you didn't want for nothing because how they was grown, how they grew up. They didn't have much. So by them not having much, they want to make sure they kid or children don't go through what they went through. Yeah. And sometimes you can make kids selfish.
Yeah.
Selfish, unappreciative, and just spoiled brats.
Most spoiled kids you will ever see. Part 1.
You won't let me get it? I'm gonna smash. Don't you dare! Don't you dare. Like that? Like that? Nope. Really? Nope. I hate this. No, don't go to the pool! Yes, ma'am? Nope.
And a lot of times when they become that way, they act that way. Nothing you can do is good enough because they so used to getting everything that they want.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you make a child selfish. And then they grow up being a child that you just don't have no control over because you try to give them everything, but they never had to work for anything. So as they get older, they expect that.
Yep. They don't appreciate it. Yeah. And the reason I brought that up is because, unfortunately, we do live in a society where people are quick to jump to conclusion.
Mhm.
So they're quick to be like, oh, well, it's the parents' fault or it's this. But like you said, there are situations where sometimes people are spoiled.
I
or
do
they
agree with you.
Yeah.
I will say it's rare, though. I would say it's rare. And the only reason I would say it's rare is just working with young people, usually there's a pattern of behavior. Like, even if you look at the psychology of children, there's usually a pattern in which was instilled in them, either through their environment or by family members or by something that they've been exposed to repeatedly. So there are those instances where you just have like parents who are amazing and this kid just turned out rotten, but that's usually very rare. There's usually somebody or something that has influenced that behavior to make them what they were. So, I mean, I just feel like that's like the 5% that
That's
you're
in black
about.
kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
because her white kids, honey, I'm talking about them. Yeah. I just want to make sure you talking about black kids.
I mean,
it's
I
rare.
can't speak on kids of other races that much because I predominantly worked with Hispanic and black children. So
Okay, I'm just asking. I want to make sure which demographic we working on.
I had like 2 white kids. No, I had like one in my class. Yeah.
Okay.
like 5% of his kids.
Yeah, we want to make sure the folks out there know what kids we talking about because we do know these brats out here. Okay, all right. Okay, we just want to make sure.
And I was going to ask you a question too on what you were saying earlier about the parents getting younger. So when you brought that up, did you mean that in the actual physical sense, or were you more so talking about the mentality wise they're getting younger?
I was talking about like the physical sense.
Yeah.
But that is a great point.
Yeah.
Like getting younger in mindset is a big thing too.
Yeah.
And I like what Shawn Kell also was saying about, it's like a pattern.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not just the parents, but it's the parents of the parents.
Stella got a groove back.
There you go. That they probably is getting that from.
We
So if
spend more
somebody-
time in schools than we do at home.
Yeah, so if somebody tries to just correct a parent, they like, well, my parents did this and this is how I was raised.
Yeah.
I ain't like
What
that.
are you gonna, how are you gonna change their mindset if they already kind of was brought up like that? So it's just like that much more reinforcement, when it comes to trying to get them to understand. So it's like just that much harder of a brick wall for you to knock down.
Yep.
So that's like real big.
Yeah.
Then sometimes women has been so sheltered for so long that when they finally get that space to be free, they go back to the time that they have missed. You done had that moment.
Yeah.
But now since you got daughters, you want to relive that moment. They've been sheltered so bad that, now I got a daughter. Oh, I can be this hoochie mama. I can be Stella got my groove back.
I'm a hoochie mama, certified hoochie mama. You know how you got a hoochie mama like ratchet, ghetto, crazy, like dressed like shorts, like, skimpy clothes.
Don't get me wrong. I'm be 55 still percolating. And that's next year. So I ain't trying to, have a young mindset, but I can't speak on some women. They've been sheltered for so long. And they lost who they was as a person.
Yeah.
And when they finally get that opportunity to be that, and they use their children, especially their daughters, to be that, and it's kind of wild because you looking just like your daughter. Your daughter, I've seen it. I knew a whole generation. A fight broke out. I knew who was the grandma, who was the daughter, who was the granddaughter, who was the sister, because everybody had on booty shorts and bonnets. I knew the whole generation. So it's exactly what you said. And it's crazy that you could see somebody and know who was all in the family.
So how can you tell somebody who has a complacent mindset, but they think that they have an evolving mindset? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Why you doing this to us?
yeah.
He tried to get names, boy.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
I have a situation. Let me try to start it off. Okay, perfect example. So I do this workshop for women. And I try to empower women, which means I'm not trying to change who you are as a person, but I'm trying to upgrade you.
Mm-hmm.
Showing you that you can do better. You don't have to accept this and stay stuck.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go up one step and then the ladder ends. You got to keep going up that ladder. So perfect example, hey, do you want to be a homeowner one day? Yes. Well, look, Section 8 is opening up. I'm doing this workshop showing y'all how to do the application. You only have 2 days. Let's get these submitted. This is an opportunity for you to get a feel of what it is being in your own home. And then you can work on getting your own home, leaving from this situation, getting to a home that you can say, oh, wow, this is a different thing. I can put flowers in my yard. I can sit on my porch and have a glass of wine or a glass of water, whatever. Nobody's telling me what I can and cannot do. Nobody's just coming in my house when I'm not at home. And they was like, no, I'm doing good. How? Because what I'm saying, no. But how? Explain to me how you're doing good. I only pay this amount of money for rent. Why would I do that to myself? By paying this amount, I can do whatever I want to do. So what you driving is bigger than what you stay in. I'm lost about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lost about this situation because you got this amount of money that you pay every month, and you think just because you're not hardly paying nothing, you can do whatever you want to do outside of this wall because you know your money is not gonna go up, it's not gonna go down. You just stuck on this. What you spend for rent, I spend on snacks, and you okay with that?
Complacent.
Yeah. But what does it take though? Like, does it take revelation or
It takes for you to lose
experience?
everything. Lose it
Hit
all.
drop bottom.
Yep. Lose it all. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Even when this conversation about how people might be losing Section 8 and all these different programmings and stuff, you know, with our new leadership.
I don't know if y'all heard or not, but Trump is getting rid of that Section 8 and EBT for these people that don't want to get out here and go to work.
Under the last administration, more than 10 million people were added to the food stamp rolls. Under my administration, 7 million Americans have come off food stamps and 10 million people have been lifted off of welfare.
Your time is up, baby. Y'all, I know most people like us really not feeling Trump, but I'm kind of feeling him on what he's saying about this.
I personally don't agree with a lot of things Trump is saying, but this one specific thing makes sense to me. To all the people that's on Section 8, he is giving y'all 2 years to get on your feet. Trump said stop being dependent and become independent. I agree. I'm not no hating ass bitch. I'm not knocking nobody's situation. But if you really think about it, Section 8 is only to assist you to get on your feet. Section 8 is a stepping stone to get you on your feet. Section 8 is not something you should depend on for the rest of your life. Government assistance is not something you should depend on for the rest of your life. Keyword, assistance, to assist you. Y'all done got too comfortable. Too comfortable. There's people that's been on Section 8 for like 10 plus years. That's a long time. Within that amount of time, you should have a lot of money saved up in your bank account, in your savings account. Y'all too busy buying the newest shoes, buying the hottest cars, trying to keep up with the trend, buying designer purses, buying designer clothes, but you're in public housing. If you can buy designers, you can pay your house rent without assistance.
People are paranoid about losing all that stuff. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Some people need to get their stuff lost so that they can rebuild and actually be forced to go out there, because there are people who need the assistance and they're using it while trying to get better. Those people do exist. However, The people who are ruining it for them are the ones who stay complacent with the assistance and they never want to evolve. They want to continue to rely off of things that are being given to them. So with that being said, I feel like for our community particularly, if we rip all of these things from under us, like the Section 8s, the housing that's $50 a month and all that foolishness,
Food stamps,
people gonna have to go out and work. They're gonna have to figure out a way. They're gonna have to go out there and hustle, and they're gonna have to build themselves up. And when they build themselves up, they also build up their children and their children's children, and it keeps going.
Preach.
So we're gonna have to do what we got to do.
I was thinking it, but you said it. So now I'm not gonna look like the bad person on here.
Hey. A lot of people gonna hate me. Now, some people should keep their assistances, of course, like disabled people, people who actually cannot do certain things.
Yes.
But there are a lot of people who are paying $50 in rent and they're able-bodied and they can work. They just don't like work and they just don't want to. Like, let's be for real. We all know people who are using certain things from the system to have an easier life that they,
You better wobble up because it's finna get serious.
Y'all better start preparing yourselves. Get out there, grind, hustle, and you ain't always got to go to college or whatever. You can get licensures. Go be a realtor.
Yeah.
Go be a plumber, an electrician,
so,
truck driver.
It's interesting. Just with this whole conversation that we're talking about with the complacency versus evolving your mindset and things of that nature. It kind of makes me think of something that I was speaking with somebody else about, how, again, going back to the state that our country is in, we now really have a me over we mentality. So, and what I mean by that is, a lot of times people are more concerned about their own person, themselves, trying to do things that really help them out versus what's better for the collective. And those can go hand in hand when you really think about it a lot of times. And, you have to somewhat have a we mentality versus me, because if you only have a me mentality, how can you take and be able to raise a family and be able to, instill these different things that we're talking about? Like, that's a we thing. Then those people go out into society and are supposed to build on to that as well, right? So if you're a selfish person with a me mentality, there's, that in itself is something that you kind of have to break out of. Like, yes, you're supposed to be able to do things you need to look out for yourself. Yes, you need to, there are certain times where you have to be selfish to be able to do what you got to do. But overall, we in this country don't tend to have that mindset to where we're trying to.
Are we talking about we as all Americans, or are we just talking about certain communities?
Let's.
I would really say we as a country where we are.
Okay, so
yes.
I mean, does anybody want to chime in before?
Because I look at other. I look at.
Okay, go ahead.
So the reason
I know you gonna get it now.
one of the things I look at is like I recently was I look at different YouTube channels and things like that, right? And one of the YouTube channels, I was actually a few different YouTube channels that I look at. There are some folks that are from Japan, actually, and they go around, they talk to different, whether it be foreigners or people that are actually from that actual country. And then they've also talked to people who have moved from here and gone over there. And they just talk about how it's just so different as far as the mindsets, how people are. And over there, it is, they have some stricter rules when it comes down to some certain things, but overall, it really is more of a collective type of mindset versus a selfish mindset. And that's why you see less crime, and, you got like cleaner streets and all these different things, as far as like, even something simple as during their work days, they actually have their citizens, doing some exercise and stuff to try to be able to help them take care of themselves, right? And like I said, it's a mindset thing. Like, yes, you by all means do some things for yourself. You got to do things for yourself. But if you don't have a evolved mindset to where you can see the bigger picture, how you have to do some of these other things to build up yourself and other people, then it's just gonna be a cycle.
Oh, I got you. Go ahead, Juicy. I go next.
Well, Trey, He talking about the world. I ain't. Y'all gonna understand about Miss Juicy. I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm talking about certain communities, okay? I ain't talking about the whole world. Because I don't know about the whole world, but I work in certain communities.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset that I see is you don't have much, but you think somebody owe you something.
Mm.
When I go into these communities, I have to pray a lot of times because I can go in there with a smile and I be coming out like cussing and to myself like, Lord Jesus, God, you have me doing this work, but sometimes I don't understand. We feel like that people are obligated to do stuff for you. Sometimes when I go into these communities, if I'm trying to build them up and show them better ways, I get nothing. But as long as I'm giving something, if you getting gift cards or I'm feeding you or something, everybody comes out. But then when somebody's trying to help you, some of them have the nastiest attitudes. But nobody's obligated to help you do anything. And this is what I don't understand. And no, am I mad that things are getting ready to change? I'm not, because I'm tired of working hard all my life. I'll be 54 this year, and I have worked hard all my life. But it's so hard for me to get help if I need a home repair because it may be too expensive over my budget. But people who don't do nothing, don't want nothing, can get all the help that they need from our taxpayer money. I don't understand how you keep helping folks that don't want to help themselves. How you keep opening up doors for them to get this done, their rent paid, their light bill. I don't get it. And then you get upset when people talk down on you. Why? Because you want to stay stuck. And then you wonder why, well, I ain't never had it good, because you chose not to have it good. You might be born into poverty, but that don't mean you have to stay into poverty. Do you hear me?
Mindset.
You don't have to stay there. It's your choice. You can break those generational curses if you want to. If you don't like how mama, grandma them was, then you make that change.
Yep.
Do I feel sorry for people like that? I don't. And I'm just keeping it 100 because I have worked with too many people who have the mindset that I owe you something. Just because I may look like you, I don't owe you a darn thing. I'm here to help and I'm here to guide you, but do I have to do this? No, I choose to. So I ain't talking about the whole country. I'm talking about certain folks. Okay, Shawn, you go ahead. Let me get a sip of my darn drink.
So I definitely agree with you as far as like community. If we're talking specifically about community, you cannot continue to expect handouts. If somebody gives you a handout of the kindness of their heart, of course you can appreciate it and accept it, but you cannot continue to expect people to give you something that will never get you or propel you forward in life. Unfortunately, we live in a world where it's a lot of people and we all got to get out here and get it some way, somehow. Because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to look out for you and your kids is you. So you need to get out there and figure it out. Of course, there's also people that are willing to help you if they're seeing that you're trying. Now, if you're just sitting there collecting things and expecting things, then people are not going to want to help you. But if they see that you're actually out here trying, like there's so many videos where you'll see like that guy who was working hard and showing up to work every day and he was walking and the community noticed it. So they bought him a car. You remember that?
Yes.
So it's just like people will see your hard work through your actions. So stop all the talking and let's make some actions. Now, when it comes to the country, Americans, like Americans as a whole, I feel like it's hard for us to have a we mindset because there's so much division in so many different things, right? For one, there's division in our history, right? There's a lot of history that is being forgotten and not spoken about and not being learned, right? So we're already going off of deception. Secondly, you also have people in America feeling like they're being used. Like for one, if you look at the prices, our gas prices, our cost of living, our daycare, everything that we're supposed to have and we're supposed to have as a society, it is so astronomically expensive compared to other countries. We're not feeling like we want to kumbaya and be together because we're all struggling and we shouldn't be. Everybody deserves to be able to make a nice home for their family and their children off of one job. You should not have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs and a bunch of different hustles on the side to go along with it. That's crazy. Yep. So until that issue is fixed as well, people are not going to be in the we mindset because we're all feeling used and abused and we're tired and we're overworked and we're not appreciated. So until as a country, our leadership figures out how to make sure everybody is appreciated and everybody is paying fair prices, not prices that are 3 times the price in Japan or here or there or whatever, where it's going to be hard for us to come together. Now, the only thing that I can see us coming together in right now is the fact that we all know that we're being played by a system, right? And us coming together to dismantle it and rebuild it. That's the only way I can see us coming together. And that's by advocating to the people who are going through it, which is most Americans. Most of us are struggling. Even middle class, does that even exist anymore? Like at this point, it's just poor and rich. You either got it or you don't.
Part,
You understand what I'm saying? So we have to look at all of the structures that we have in this country first, and we have to dismantle certain things and bring attention to certain things, and then we can come together to rebuild it. But until that, people are not going to be together. Even our food, like why are we being fed stuff that other countries are banning because it's so unhealthy? You know why? Because they want us to be sick, because the hospital is a business. It's not about helping people. The more people who come in sick, the more people that they can charge their insurance and all these things, and the more money that goes into pockets of people with higher positions and higher the elite. So we have to dismantle a lot of different systems here first before we can come together and work together.
Yeah. So just to basically, just to talk on what you were saying, basically. So first, I'll say, like with what you said, Juicy, the person who, like you said, is using the system, right? And the people who aren't appreciative when you come to those neighborhoods, those are me people. Those are me people.
Absolutely.
Like what you said before with, all these prices going up. We know that the system is the way it's set up. It basically is for these people to get rich, and it's for, okay, we're going to get you sick over here, so then you got to pay this to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Those people that are in control of those businesses, those are me people, because they trying to.
Absolutely.
It's all trickled down. So that kind of is basically what I'm saying is that goes back to my original point. It's you're a we person, but that me person over there is abusing everything. And it's the same thing there. Like it's hard to come together because you got these me people over here who are really like causing the issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I agree with you. It's probably going to have to be some type of reform or something, or dismantle, the system of some sort, or just somebody who can come in and bring about that change. But it starts with each individual.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing that I'm saying, like, because until you can start here, you're never gonna evolve in that mindset. And then it's kind of like if you think of have you ever heard of pay it forward?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of that mentality, right? This person affects that person. Now these two people affect 2 more people, and then it just starts to grow from there.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Go ahead.
But that me is wearing out the weeds.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, you definitely got to be the change you want to see out here nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's where, knowing yourself, like Shawn, Trey, everybody kind of was saying, comes into play. And when it comes to knowing yourself, like I said, like reading, like a really good book is called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, by Dr. Kimbrough. I read that, and that kind of put me on like a trajectory where I kind of knew, like, all right, things aren't set up for me to be easy, or things aren't set up to be easy, So, and you always have that saying, or you hear that saying, if it comes too easy, then it's probably not good for you anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
True. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you got to put in that work when it comes to, gaining that self-knowledge to understand, I have to make sure I'm good, and then I can definitely make sure we good.
If it's too easy, you don't want it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that was another great, hot topic conversation right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I got to keep sipping on my drink.
I got to get my juicy corner, cup.
There we go.
Available for purchase. You know.
We'll
It's
put that
just
in the
lemonade,
screen.
y'all. Just lemonade. Okay?
But we do got rumors, coming up.
Yes. I think we got somebody that's gonna hop in on that one, right?
Oh yeah,
Special guest.
We got
We're
special
gonna make
guests.
a nice appearance. We got a lot to talk about.
The rumors episode, y'all tune in. Don't go anywhere. Go get a snack. You might need to get a drink on this one too.
Ooh.
Your water, whatever you want, whatever you want.
sit up.
But it's gonna be real severe. You hear me? And if you, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna give you a warning label. If you're sensitive, you'll be all right.
Oh, put a Band-Aid
You'll
on
survive.
You'll be
There
all
you
right.
go.
You'll be all right. It's gonna be a touchy, fun. May not get it, may make you mad, but you need to tune in because it is some juicy stuff. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about that
I'm
stuff.
ready. You know I stay ready.
Yeah. And I can't wait for our other partner to come on here, talk about it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be ooh. I need some popcorn. If I got no popcorn in the house.
Thought it was high last episode. Had to be real high.
Them cookies been good though. Did y'all like y'all cookies?
Oh yeah, oatmeal raisin. You already know.
I hadn't finished them, but yeah.
I gotta definitely get the young lady's name. We gotta definitely put her out there. We got some cookies today, y'all. I like chocolate chip and oatmeal and raisin. Both of them banging. Both of them. I just kept my other one. I had to hide it from myself.
Yeah.
Because I need that milk with it. You know when I get
Of
home,
course.
give me that milk.
I need her to give me them macadamia cookies. Y'all ever had them?
I don't like cookies with nuts.
I love them. I'm gonna have to hit her up.
You don't like my nuts in my cookies.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yo.
Oh man, we going viral this episode for sure.
Not for the faint-hearted.
Hey, but definitely we'll be right back.
Tune in.
So stay tuned in.
All right.
Yeah, a word from our sponsors.